Okay, welcome to this 45-minute check-in and roll-out class. So we'll start by coming to our comfortable seated posture. When I'm using a foam roller, I'll often sit on the foam roller, but you don't need to. You could be in a chair or a block, or sit on a block or a cushion. Let your eyes close. And start to let all the parts of yourself that get all fragmented as we rush around in our life to start to come back together. And then notice as you settle, bring your awareness to your mind, your cognition. Notice the energy of the mind. Is it going fast? What kind of thoughts are you having? Doing this from an observer point of view, so not judging it, just holding the space for. And going down and noticing how your emotions are feeling. And sometimes I struggle to name the emotions and then I get frustrated because I can't name them. So I try to just like feel it. How do my emotions feel? And then dropping down to the body, this physical level layer of ours, and noticing how your body is feeling. Normally when we take stock of how our body is feeling, we notice what feels quotations good and what feels quotations bad. Can you start to feel the residue or the complement part to your emotions in your mind? Every experience we have mentally or emotionally has a somatic experience, a felt sensation in the body. We've learned to turn that off for so long because it can be uncomfortable to feel everything in the body. Giving your time a chance to feel is what really allows things to get processed and moved through. And now bring your hands up to your heart. Inhale up into your hands. Keep the length, exhale. Start to feel like you're connecting in with yourself. I'm keeping that connection in. Start to open the eyes a little bit and take in your surroundings, but still work on staying connected to yourself. So both at the same time, which is a challenging thing to do. We're gonna take our legs up in front of us and let's sit on the foam roller. So let's turn around and let's lay on it. So if you have a long foam roller, your butt will be on the base of the foam roller. If your foam roller is not as long, you can sit with your bum down, or you could put a block under it so your hips are the same level. So I want your head on the foam roller. Knees are bent, soles of the feet on the floor, hands on the floor in a comfortable place. Begin to figure out how to push into your feet or your arms in a way that you can become more balanced. And softening the tension that can be held in the front of the chest. Noticing the way the spine aligns with the foam roller. And then with our hands by our hips, palms faced up, we're gonna do snow angels with our arms. Draw the front of the ribs in a little bit as you stretch your arms out to the side and then start to reach the arms up over the head. My hands come off of the floor when they come over the head, and then reverse that motion. It might be that your hands don't come to the floor, they hover, that's fine. Might even feel better for you, stretching out through the hands as they come up above the head. And reversing it nice and slow, stretching out from the heart, core is engaged. These things that happen, whatever happens, it has this internal effect on the body, this physical effect on the body. And so often that physical effect will trigger us. We don't realize it, that we've been triggered because we felt something in our body. Okay, last time, we're gonna bring the arms up above the head. As the arms extend over the head, we're gonna imagine we're holding a barbell or something, or a pull-up bar or something. And then squeeze your imaginary pull-up bar, integrate the shoulders into the shoulder sockets, ribs draw in like you're doing a little crunch, but the head stays on the foam roller, and then pull the chin-up bar or whatever down towards your chest, elbows come to the floor, and then reach up, pull down, all the way, squeeze your elbows, maybe into the ribs, up, down. We're getting this opening through the pecs. It's a little bit different when our elbows are bent. Pull down. Yeah, this time take your hands to your shoulders. And we're gonna do those windshield wipers with our hands touching the shoulders. So the elbows will go up above, go nice and slow. So you're getting that articulation in the shoulder socket. You'll find your range here. Probably places where it doesn't feel like you can move, honor those. We want to play the edge. Don't want to stay where we always stay. We want to push that edge a little bit, not pushing too far. Really nice. Now stretch your arms up towards the sky. Interlace your hands, pinky fingers up. You might need to look forward at this one so you know what we're doing. So we're going to be shifting the weight from one foot to the other. Practice doing that, rolling the foam roller to one side and then the other. And as the foam roller, if you have a baggy sweater, you might roll over it. As you roll the foam roller to one side of your spine, turn your arms towards that same side. You know, you can even keep rolling the foam roller back a little bit so the foam roller is on the outside of the deltoid, if you want. And then come back through center. Go in the other direction. Working with the foam roller is rarely graceful. If that's an expectation you have, let that go. Really nice. Come back through center. Shit. Now we're going to roll off to one side and come to lay on our back. Foam roller just by your side for a moment. Hands by your side, knees come up together if you want. Feel yourself on the ground. This grounding or this arriving, all those fragmented parts coming back together, feeling your breath, feeling your body. Now push into the mat with your head and rotate your ear to one side and then the other. As you rotate your head from side to side, continue to push the back of the head down into the mat so you get a little bit of a skull massage. And bring the head back up to neutral. Push into your heels and lift up your hips. Connect to the power in your legs, the stability in your legs. The heart be more open and soft. If it feels good to you, you could stretch your arms up over your head, kind of like that snow angel reaching the arms. behind your head, stretching the knees in front of you, and then lowering down. Really nice. Push the pelvis into the floor, belly button stays in, and then windshield wiper the knees go to one side and then the other, coming onto the outer edge and inner edge of the foot, and then alternating. You come back to center, stretch your right leg up to the sky, and circle out your ankle. Take your circle in the other direction. And practice spreading your toes. Point the toes like a gas pedal and then flex the foot back. Point and flex. Point and flex. Nice. With the foot flexed, cross the right ankle over the left knee. We're going to stay here for a moment. Without using your hands, try to push your right knee forward so it's in line with your right foot. That's what we're working towards as you keep pushing your sit bones down into the floor. Finding the stretch on the outside of the right leg. And staying here, or float the left knee up. You would stay here. Same thing, actively pushing right knee away, pushing bum down, drawing right ankle and left knee together, or taking your hands through. This pose, the bum likes to round up, so trying to do the opposite, pushing the bum down, or maybe taking some movement. I like to do a little side to side rock here sometimes. If in this little bit of movement you might be bringing into the pose, if you find a juicier spot, stay there. Let's come back through center. Feet on the floor. Lift the left foot up to the sky. Circle off the foot. Again, finding that edge. Taking it in the other direction. Flex the toes back. Push out through the left heel and then point the toes. Flex. Point. Flex. Across the ankle. Left ankle on right knee. Push the left knee away from the body. Draw the pelvis down. I like starting here because it can be a little bit harder to find the sensation sometimes. You have to be a little bit more aware. Maybe the foot hovers, straight foot hovers. Maybe knee pulls in. Bring your awareness to the muscles that you feel getting stretched. As you inhale, imagine that you're breathing length into those muscles. Exhale, soften. Maybe add a little bit of movement. Really nice. Come back through center. One more bridge with the feet on the floor. Push into the heels. Lift the hips. Maybe circle the arms up to the side. Stretch those up over the head. Optional. You're not pushing your knees forward and stretching back through your head or hands. And lower down. Now find your bolster. We're going to put the bolster underneath the feet. Sometimes can take some rearranging. Pushing into the bolster, the foam roller, we're going to lift the hips up. Does it feel like you're pushing into one leg more than the others? Nice, lower the hips down. Let's do one more, hips up. Hips down. So pull your knees into your belly. Take your feet up to the sky, hold on to the sides of the feet and fold the knees down. You could also hold on to the ankles. Happy baby, maybe rocking side to side, getting into the hamstrings. And then we're gonna take our feet to the foam roller. We're gonna hold it somehow between our feet and not graceful. The goal isn't graceful. The knees are gonna stay bent over the hips, belly in. Touch the bolster to the floor and up. Shin level or all the way up. Bend the knees, touch. I have to put my hands on my belly because if I don't, it just completely softens and my back just arches. Now we're gonna add, we're gonna do the arms. Hold the knees at 90 degrees angle if possible, or put feet on the floor. Really make a good decision for you, no pressure on anything. Okay, so we're gonna hold the bolster in the arms. My knees are gonna be at 90-degree angles. Same thing, my core has to be in. And I'm gonna bend my elbows to 90 degrees. So I'm gonna hold towards the tip of the bolster a little bit more. You can get that knee, the elbow bending. If I saw someone doing this, I wouldn't think it would be too hard, but I would be wrong. Okay, now we're going to switch. So touch the floor of the foam roller, lift the legs up, put the foam roller between the feet, bend the knees, touch the foam roller. Send the legs up, hold it with your hand, tap it behind you, and up. I could tell I was cheating because I only rotated with my hands. Now we're gonna make our way to the table. Hands on the foam roller. We're gonna do some cat cows. Inhaling, cat, belly in. Exhale, cushion roll. Okay, come to a neutral spine, lengthening out. And we're gonna push the arms forward. We're gonna come back into child's pose. So the hand, the foam roller will go a little bit forward as the butt sits back towards the heels. If it feels accessible on your shoulders, you could come onto your fingertips on your foam roller, push down into your fingertips and lift up your armpits more. Really nice. Come on up. We're going to transition to sitting on our bum. It's not graceful. You were warned. Goes going over each glute, getting them both at the same time. One glute, investigating. One glute. And this cross fiber friction. It's like you're drying off your bum with a towel. That's a really great technique of grabbing a hold of the fascia, the connective layers, and getting some movement. That doesn't look weird. Okay. After all that excitement, I'm back up. Imagine pulling those fragmented pieces back together. Bringing your awareness back inside, Connecting to yourself. Hopefully this gets easier as we practice it more. Notice what things have shifted. Even if it is you feel less good, it's important to notice these little shifts so we can track what's going on inside of us, because whatever's going on inside of us is going to interfere with how we react with the world. Okay, so from here we're going to go over to our right hip. I'm going to roll over a little bit more to my right side. So, getting all the way up to your hip bone, down to your sitting bone. You can compress, you can like jiggle again. And then we're going to add external rotation. So I'm going to take that right leg and I'm going to come into my same pigeon leg cross, but with my toes spread, just like before. And then again, rolling out the glute. This can push out some muscles that are harder to get to. Whew. And now we're going to extend that right leg forward. And I'm going to step my left foot in front of my right. When we get these hips, it can be some upper body workout. And you can take a break, or you can figure out how to prop yourself up differently. Not getting into this upper outer hip. And I'm going to start to work my foam roller down my leg a little bit. My hands are going to be a little bit further away from my foam roller. Again, I just have to keep being creative about how I'm setting myself up. Ooh, there's a good one. I have to be a little bit lower for me. So now we're rolling out the side of our leg. This is where the IT band is and some quad, lateral quad is. I want you to go up and down, figure out how that's going. We're going to find a tender spot or a more sensitive, interesting area and stay there. Ooh, might feel too interesting, time to move. And then bend your bottom knee. That leg that you're, bend it. This is great for the knee, straighten. And these muscle attachments go on and hook around the knee, so when they're tight, they can pull little tendons over the knees and you get some extra popping. If that interesting place gets less interesting, you can move and find a new one. Okay, now let's come onto our belly with the foam roller underneath the hips. Really nice. And then come up onto your forearms. This is another interesting one. We're trying to do the quads. So especially the right quad is what we're paying attention to. So you could have your left quad hanging off, so your knees on the floor. Going up and down the quad. Maybe rotating the leg as you do it, so you're getting the sides of the quads too. And same thing, it's called a pin and lengthening technique. When you find one of those spots that catches your attention, that has some extra feeling in it, some extra messages for you, stay there, compress it, and then bend the knee. And, relax. Practicing feeling what's coming up in the body. Okay, all right, ready to leave this quad, say goodbye to it. Actually, I could be here for like 20 more minutes on this quad, but not right now. We're gonna put the bolster like this, and I'm gonna get my inner thigh. So I'm laying on my left side. This is kind of how I sleep. Put my right leg up over it. And then I'm gonna be rolling my knee out and in. So I kind of am pushing off of my body. Remember the first time I tried to do this, I could not figure it out. Sometimes I'll add my right hand on top of my leg so that as I roll out, I can push a little bit more pressure. And find a spot to find a sensational spot. Push it down and then straighten and bend. Oh gosh. See if you can get the foremolar all the way up to the top of the inner thigh. Apply pressure as you bend and straighten the leg. And then bring the bolster to just above the inner right knee. Apply pressure down, so I'm on the quad at the very base of it. And straighten. Really nice. Come back up. Sit on your forearm for a moment. One of the goals that we can be working for is this ability to stay connected to ourselves as we're connected to the outside world. So it's like idea 50-50, and just noticing how that's so hard to do. I'm almost always inside, checked out, or paying attention to something out here. Okay, so we're gonna do it on the other side. So shifting the weight over to that left glute. Maybe right away you can tell a difference. Maybe they're pretty similar. Yeah, that little. We don't have to splash these layers of muscle. They get like glued together. How often do you know the flush around your bum? Not a ton. Oh. And now we can add that external rotation with the left leg. If you were getting more sensation without this external rotation, you could put your foot back down. Okay. And now we're gonna start, we're working on our glute and then we're wrapping around and getting our whole leg. So now we're trying to the outside of the leg. I'm gonna come down on my forearm for this one. The side of that, your hip. So your gluteus medius and minuses. Starting to work that leg if you haven't already, more down the thigh, the outer thigh. And when you find a spot, you can bend and you can compress, pause, bend, and straighten the leg. And now we're going to rotate towards the quad. Find a place with your right leg so it's not in the way, and it might even be able to help you roll up and down. You might have to use your hand to move your foam roller. If you were to have multiple foam rollers, like there's some pretty sweet soft ones, you could switch it out. Like I might use a softer one. This is pretty intense for me. And also you can also throw a blanket over your foam roller if it's to make it a little bit softer. This isn't about torturing ourselves. And then add a compression if you haven't, do some bending and straightening of that leg. I like to get the foam roller just above the knee. Kind of apply pressure right there. Bend and straighten it. Awesome. Now pivoting. So we're laying parallel to the foam roller on the right side. Maybe left hand on left outer thigh for pressure. And rolling the foam roller out and in. Our inner thighs are often very neglected. And you're going to add that pin and lengthen, compression, and then adding the joint movement whenever you want. I like to get some of those with the foam roller just above my knee and some of those with the foam roller towards the top of my thigh. Okay, very nice. Come on back up. Okay, let's take the foam roller behind us onto the ribs, hands behind the head. Lift up the feet and go up and down. There's a spot on the back between the hips and the ribs that's not protected by bone. Oh, I don't like rolling there, so I'm just rolling where there's bone to protect me. So like rib cage up to the scapulas. And then roll yourself all the way down so that the foam roller is under your neck. Push. I get mine nice and snug in there. Push your head into the bolster for more pressure. And have my knees bent, soles of the feet on the floor, so I can even push up into my foam roller a little bit more. And then rotate Head from one side to the other. Applying that pressure. And finding a spot to stay at. When you find a spot, do little nods going up and down. And kind of your head side to side doing these little nods. A little cross fiber friction, a little no head shake. Nice. And remove your controller. Let's go soles of the feet together. One hand on your belly, one hand on your heart. And you allow yourself to be in this moment without any agenda for yourself. And roll over to one side. Press yourself up. We're gonna come into a seat. We're gonna be here for a little bit, so you could sit up on a chair if that would be more comfortable. You might have that chair right there if you wanted to use that. Once you're sitting upright, thighs soften. Parenting advice is always pay attention to what's coming up in you before responding to the child, which is just great advice in general. But how often do we practice checking in, tracking what's going on for us? Right, take your hands underneath, one hand on top of the other, right underneath the little V of your throat. Push in and pull down a little bit. And then draw the chin towards the chest. Keep dragging your skin down and then roll your right ear over to your right shoulder. Experiment in this area. Imagine you had a paintbrush on your chin. You can like move your chin around to do an underbite sometimes. And we'll come back through center. Keep tractioning down at the neck skin. Left ear comes to left shoulder. You can pull down over just slightly to the right. Open up there. Little movement through the chin. Finding your range. Nice, and then come back to center. Bring your hands down. We're going to end with a lymphatic massage. So the lymph is like what cleans your body. So I saw a picture of it once explaining lymph, dirty lymph and clean lymph, and it was a picture of an aquarium. It was like an aquarium that has like all the green, you know, you can't really see it, and like a clean aquarium. I thought that was a really good visual. So when we do lymphatic drainage, we're trying to pull the lymph down. So the pressure that you're using is like the pressure you'd use to move a coin over a table. So it's not a lot of pressure. And we're going to be working with the lymph that comes down from behind the ears. It kind of follows the sternocleidomastoid muscle down to that little V, right? Around that V is the intake spot for the lymph. So with both hands, take your hands behind your ears and just slowly dragging your fingers down, pulling down towards that V. being mindful, staying with the sensations of your finger, the awareness, sensing the subtlety of moving this lymph down the body. See if you can keep doing it, but speed up a little bit. This is especially good if you have like congestion or allergies. So it's helping to drain the head. Okay, that's the first one. The second one, I take my hands like this, one over the other, kind of like I'm gonna strangle myself. And then I'm gonna lightly squeeze my neck and then pull down again. So I go up a little bit, like where my Adam's apple would be, and pull down again to the collarbones. Noticing if the pressure starts to get deeper, try to keep it light. As you do this, we're taking the hands a little bit higher, so not so just below the chin, pulling down from the lymphs underneath the mouth. Okay, and then the last one, we're going to keep pulling, so we're going to interlace our hands, and we're dragging. Actually, I'm not going to interlace my hands. And I'm going to pull down with my fingertips. I'm imagining pulling that fluid stuck up in the head and the neck. Really nice. Now come back to the front of the throat one. Hands crossed over. Sometimes the lymph is explained like rivers running through our body. We'll make those rivers undammed, like a move. And then lastly, ears to collarbones. Really nice. And then wash off from your head down your body. Nice. Back to your seat. Noticing the way the body feels, the quality of the mind, the emotions. And draw your hands up to your heart, bow your head. Thank yourself for showing up and for your effort. Thanks for joining me. Namaste. So good.